This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, and welcome back to Third Eye View. My guest today is Melissa from Hertz Health, and we actually met in Tiverton last year, and she was supposed to come on the show earlier, and then I got sick and everything just fell apart. So now we have her back. Except she's not in Tiverton. Well, she was in Cambridge. She's not in Cambridge anymore.
No.
Right? Melissa has moved out to Alberta, but she still does a lot of stuff online. So you can still take advantage of her services, even though she's not actually living here, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So your business is called Hertz Health. And welcome to the show, by the
Thank
way.
you.
I should have said that first. I get sidetracked easily. Anyway, I know there's several different things that you do. So if you would like to start by regaling us with what you do, and then we'll talk about how you got into it and where your interests are and all of that neat stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do mainly act as a guide, guiding people back to their restored health in a holistic way. And so I take physical knowledge that I have learned from my academic background in chiropractic, and then I bridge into holistic health, which is more energy and nature, as well as I use a big chunk of psychology as well to bridge mind, body, and spirit in restoring health. And so I do this in a number of different ways, depending on the person in front of me and what their requirements are. But the main thing that I do is I try and shift your energy by educating you on the cause and origin of disease, and how to really go to the root cause of your conditions and change them in a true way. Because I myself went through a healing journey, and I was able to recover from what was quote unquote an incurable condition. And that is really what spiraled me leaving the chiropractic profession behind and stepping into this world of holistic health, because I recognized that there were so many gaps in that profession that just simply weren't going to meet the requirements of healing that not only my body was needing, but the body of those who I worked with. And
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, you mentioned there about getting to the root cause. And that is something that I think is so important. And it's something that so many different practitioners and people in general overlook.
Yeah.
It's, well, I don't feel good. Give me a pill. Let's fix it. But all that does is put a Band-Aid on it.
Exactly.
And getting to the root cause. And a number of years back, I took a course in life coaching. And that was one of the big things that we talked about, even with coaching, is you've got to get to the root cause.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, you were saying that you had something wrong with you, and that's what got you onto this journey.
Yeah, exactly. And so, in my own health journey or health crisis, you would call it, I had to become my own guinea pig because Western conventional means of treatment was not changing anything for me. If anything, it was just leading me to more despair and frustration. But then I did a complete 180, and I went and explored natural medicines and herbs and supplementation. And I saw improvement, yes, but when I took all of those tools away, the cookie crumbled and I would re-enter into a disease state. And so I got really frustrated because I was like, like, what do I do now? I have, abandoned, conventional, and this natural only seems to go so far. And so at this time, COVID came and
Yeah.
the world stopped, and I actually had an amazing opportunity to stop and look at the life that I was living. And I recognized as I started into my spiritual journey, I started recognizing how out of alignment I was living with the life that I truly wanted, and how that was expressing itself as disease in my body. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just like, oh yeah, like this is interesting. And I'm thinking of stuff in with issue like health issues that I've got, my husband's got, and you say about, not really living the life that you should be. And I think, yeah, all of this makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what led me to the truth of the disease that I had, was because when I had made that realization, and then I started looking at all of the areas of my life where I was living out of alignment,
Mm-hmm.
I felt such resentment. I felt such anger, and that was really the root cause of my condition. And so I went and I made some big radical changes in my life. I left a profession, I left a relationship. I, went and detailed all of these other areas of my life. And on the other side of that, my body was free of disease, because why would it? I was in a state of ease. And so I changed my frequency. I changed my energy over time by changing my life. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I try and help people with today.
Yeah. Now you follow Louise Hay?
Yeah, a little bit. I actually have her book. I have that book, just a
Yeah.
different version. Yes.
Yes, I keep
It's
this one right at my desk.
Yes, it is an amazing book, but she was not the first author of the kind that I came across in that metaphysical
Mhm.
realm. I think that I first came across Carolyn Miss, and I read her book, The Spirit of the Anatomy, and that
Uh-huh.
really
Excellent.
opened up my eyes to the connection between spirituality, the mind, and body. And those three things are not separate entities. And that's what we've forgotten. We've forgotten that. And
Yeah.
so we're living in a world where people want to just address the physical, but you can maybe see some changes, but it's not going to ripple through to the energetic and spiritual fields. It has to be a holistic, approach to the situation.
But don't you find that in today's society, everything is, I want it now, now, now. And they don't want to do the hard work.
Yeah.
They want that quick fix.
Yes.
But when you're working with the holistic and the whole thing, it's going to take time.
Exactly. And what people don't realize is that to get to the place that you're at now, it has taken lots of time and an
Years.
accumulation of patterns and behaviors. And
Yeah.
if you think about a hoarder's house, for instance, just think about how long those people live in that state and how they continue to collect and collect and collect.
Yeah.
Um, if you are starting your healing journey, that the undoing of that is not going to happen in a day.
That's right.
and, and
That's
and
right.
on the total other side of that, you're going to be a very different person. You
Yes.
have to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Number one, you're not carrying all the baggage around,
No.
and that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Do you work with, when you're working with the holistic, do you work with visualizations as well?
It depends on the type of human that I have in front of me.
Okay.
Some people are more able to utilize those sorts of things in their journey, but other people are just tactile in a different way. And so that's part of the personalization of the care with people, is that I pay attention to what they actually like and enjoy because forcing your way through healing is never going to work. In fact, it will probably have detrimental consequences instead.
Yeah. Now you were telling me that you have a course coming up for women,
Yes.
taking them through a journey. And that sounded really interesting. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Like, talk about it, and here's your chance to promote it.
Yeah.
Then we'll get your contact information.
Yes. So I have, for the first time, actually collaborated with a friend and work partner of mine. I am a holistic practitioner myself, focusing on mind, body, spirit, and she is a divine feminine healer and Reiki master. And so we are conjoining forces to ignite a woman back into her remembrance and to bring her back to the body. And we have created this because we sense and we see in our own practices, in our own work, how disconnected women have come from the feminine essence.
Yes.
And
Now, sorry.
yeah.
When you say back to her, like the remembrance of it, can you go into a little more detail with that?
Yeah, we have, I think over especially the last decade, there has been a rise of masculine energy in this world. And the masculine energy has seeped its way into the feminine beyond a healthy means. And what I mean by that is that women have taken on a more masculine role in society, and we have had to also keep our feminine role as mothers, as caretakers, as givers. And when you combine an over exaggerated expression of the masculine with an underexpressed feminine, you do create an imbalance. And that shows up in my world a lot as hormonal imbalances, thyroid issues, digestion problems, because you're not digesting your life as you should. You're not feeling the juice and the essence of life as you should when you're busy in this masculine energy.
It makes sense, especially when you talk about the thyroid. My oldest daughter, she has trouble with her thyroid, and she's a single mom.
Yes.
So she has had to take on the role of both mother, father. I mean, dad is still a big part of the kids' lives.
Yes.
But she still had around the house and responsibilities, she's had to take on the role of both. And I know, I mean, it's that case with a lot of women. Digestive problems, that's a problem I have. And again, over the years, I've had years as a single mom, and I've had to take on that, I would say, masculine role of being the provider, where it used to be, when I grew up, it was always the man that was the provider.
Yeah.
And women were allowed to be women. They were allowed to be feminine. It was not looked on as a weakness. And I think that it's sad. It's a shame that a lot of people think of it that way, where if you really look at it, I think the feminine it's strong. It's brave.
It is so much so that's why exactly we've called it the wild woman ignition. And it's because you said that so perfectly, feminine as a weakness. And that is why we have this imbalance right now, because we have been programmed to believe that being in our feminine is weak. And so it's not it's not our knowing, but rather it's our ignorance to knowing. And,
Yeah.
and that is what we're here to remind you of.
I think that is really, really important. At my age, I have seen over the years, I have seen where the femininity, where the feminine was important and it was brought first, like forth, and women dressed like women, like they wore dresses and heels and took the time to look after themselves. They were not competing in a man's world. And I feel that, and I don't know if I can explain this right, but I think with women using their feminine wiles, to put it that way, and their femininity, using it as a strength, not trying to move into a man's world, but let's create a woman's world
Exactly.
that is strong.
Yeah.
Equal to that of a man's world. It doesn't have to compete.
Yeah.
And when it comes there's a lot of stuff going on politically right now, and there's been a lot of talk about mama bears. And when you get the mama bears angry, look out. And there's a lot of truth in that, because a woman, a mama bear or a grandma bear that has to protect her family, she can be more dangerous than a man.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't expect it.
And that's what I love about nature, is it shows us the truth all the time. If you just look to nature, and this is why I now don't have to use supplementation or medication to get the results with my clients, because you can see it out there in nature. All you have to do is embody it.
Absolutely. I am a spiritual person more than I am a religious person. So whether you want to refer to God, to the universe, the creator, Buddha, whatever you call your higher being, when we were created, and when that being created Earth, everything that we needed was here.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything. You do not need anything besides yourself and your life to make change.
And, and state of mind as well, because the mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
It really is. And if you really believe something, like the old saying, as you believe, so it becomes.
Yes.
And if you believe in your heart that you're useless, you're sick, you're not good enough, that's exactly how you're going to be.
Yeah, it is so true. And that is exactly, I did create an appointment just for this exact conversation. And it's called Go Within. And it's where we shift your consciousness to shift your biology. Because out of chiropractic school, I started studying Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, and I started to understand how the power of my beliefs were impacting my capacity to heal. And when I decided to be thankful for what my body was doing, when I decided to play on the same team rather than to fight my body, I noticed a massive shift right away in my being. And so for people who are on the fence with their healing, people who are not quite sure what's going on with them, that is the appointment for you, because I can sit there with you and your beliefs and see, okay, what's possible with the way that you're believing, because your body isn't going to make those changes without you believing in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And one of the things you do, and this may be what we're talking about, I don't know, because I really don't know what quantum healing is up front, be very honest about it.
Yes.
But one of the things that you had mentioned is that you do quantum healing. What is that?
Yes. So if you, just to break it down into layman's terms, because we can get here and be very wordy about this, but let's try not to. Quantum healing is the connectedness of everything. And so
Okay.
if we were just talking about that thyroid example here at the beginning of the show, right? And it was the overexertion of the masculine and that overworking of the energy center of the body, which is the thyroid, it manifested in physical disease. And so instead of attacking the thyroid and telling the body that the thyroid's wrong, let's quantum heal this by actually getting to the root cause of the emotion as to why you're acting and behaving in that way. And then we have the cause to the effect of healing. Yeah. And it's when you start to view the body with such curiosity and you are open to new answers from your body, you will be quite amazed with the results that you can gain in your healing. And I think that the world is on this transformation of moving into this quantum because we are energy beings. We have bodies. We are not just bodies. This is just a flesh suit here to show us what we are thinking, believing, and doing. And it's our physical manifestation of our energetic expression.
All right. Now, Melissa, if somebody wanted to get hold of you because you do stuff on Zoom and like online.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to get hold of you, how do they do that? What is your contact information?
Yes. Well, I'll start with my email. My website is currently being updated, and I'm not sure when this will air to the public.
Okay.
But my email address is hertzhealth@outlook.com. So it's HERTZHELALTH@outlook.com. And then I do also have a presence on social media, Instagram at Hertz Health. If you are into that, you're free to send me a DM, or on my Facebook business page as well is the same. And if you'd like, you can always be old-fashioned because I'm an old soul, and give me a call at 519-496-9309.
All right. Now, okay, I'm just trying to get the right wording here. Okay, so I'm going to use me as an example. Okay. I have mobility issues because of my back and my knees. Now I know, and I mean, there's all that age-old excuse, right? Age.
Yeah.
You start getting up there and it's like, oh God, everything falls apart. So if I got hold of you and I said to you, look, these are the problems I have, how would you treat that? I mean, I'm not asking you to give away secrets and that, but just sort of what sort of program or what sort of approach would you?
Yeah. My approach. Yeah. So I would, with a case like that, I always start with the most physical and most tangible things to change first, because that just makes sense, right? So I want to make sure that your body is getting the most nutrients that it can. So I'm going to teach you about digestion, and I'm going to work through your beliefs about digestion and also give you the requirements to digest naturally in the most optimal state. So now your body has the raw materials to work with for the next stage of healing. And then we're going to focus in on the main things of sleep, getting natural light exposure, because those two factors massively interplay on how your neuromuscular system works, because light interfaces with your neurotransmitters of the body. And when you don't have that signaling going on at its most optimal state, well, then we know that part of the problem downstream can be expected. And after that, I always, do go through and do sort of a metaphysical analysis of your situation. So what's happening in your life, and then what's happening in your body, and how are the two connected? And so that would be very personalized to you, but I'll just give you a common circumstance from what I saw a lot as a chiropractor for the spinal aspect of your issue. The spine is your backbone. And if you think about having a backbone, you think about being strong, confident, you feel like you're rooted, you're grounded, you feel safe, right? That's the energy of the backbone. And if you don't feel that way in some aspect of your life, if you're feeling threatened in some way, whether it may be, I see it more so for relationships, finances, and career in women. And then it's different in men. But since you're a woman, I'm talking about women. And, I would go and take a deep look into those areas and see if we can't change some things in your life so that you no longer feel in resistance or in an unsafe way about that, because the body is only creating pain and expression to get your attention. And so when we go in and do that, along with, I'm going to obviously provide you physical things to do to move the energy and strengthen your back again. But, in addition to that, then we have to look at the knee as well. And so if you look at the function of the knee, what does it help you do on a day-to-day? It helps you move forward. And then depending on what side of the body, if it's your feminine or masculine side, it'll be your left or right. And so it's, where in your life are you having resistance to moving forward, or are you getting a little stuck? And yeah, is this resonating for you?
So there really is a lot with this. Like you're worth the money. Let's put it that way. And
yes, it's very,
it is. It's not just a quick, now we're going to take a break in a few minutes, which is one of the reasons I kind of interjected, because I would like to carry on a little bit more with this when we come back.
Yeah.
And sort of qualifications and that you have, like what you have gone through to get to this.
Yeah.
But I think that what you do, it is probably more in depth than what a lot of other healers do. And nothing against other healers whatsoever. But they're working, and I know several that work with like different modalities and that. But what I like with you that is really different is getting to the root cause.
Yeah. In my work, you are the protocol. You are the treatment plan, and your life is evidence of that. Yeah. And so how powerful is that you could actually have all of the power to change without any of the therapies or modalities. And I'm not saying that those things are wrong, because they were part of my journey too. And you're going to use those things until you no longer need them, when you develop and cultivate the strength from within to do that. And that's why I'm here to help people through it.
All right. Well, Melissa, we're going to take a short break. Okay. And we'll be back. And I have so many more questions and things I want to ask. You're so fascinating. You really are. My youngest daughter's name is Melissa too, by the way.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah, so easy name to remember. Anyway, don't go away, because we'll be back.
I was born and raised in Musqueam First Nation territory by my mother, who spoke Hunkaminam to me. As a child, I ceased using my mother tongue, as to use any language other than English was considered not being Canadian, so I was told. The old people came to me in a dream and reminded me of who I am and where I come from. I have reawakened. My roots are strong, and I'm no longer a silent speaker. My language tells me where I am from. It defines me and guides me to teach others to learn and understand our culture and traditions. A gift for those in the present and the unborn generations. What was lost is found. What was asleep has awakened. My blood is here, and I am complete. I have returned home.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
We had quite an interesting conversation during that little break. And recently, one of the things that we talked about when you were talking about light with the body and glasses, I recently saw a post on Facebook that was a Facebook friend that had put it on there about where you shouldn't wear sunglasses when you're outside, like maybe wear a hat with a cap, like a cap with a shade, but the sunglasses, because the sun needs to get into your eyes.
Yeah.
And because we were talking about weight loss, and this is something that you mentioned. So can you explain that?
Yeah, so again, we've been programmed to live in fear about the sun. But the truth is, if you look at every plant and animal living outside, they thrive in the light all the time. So how could it be true that light is harmful for us, but it's beneficial for nature? If we're part of nature, light must benefit us too. And so when you actually go deeper into the research around UV exposure, et cetera, you will find that we have massively been misled in our understanding of how UV rays interact with our bodies. And when you are wearing glasses, you are impacting how the body is able to receive light and use it in a beneficial way. You're actually creating chaos in the body that the body then has to go and compensate for. And it's through the compensations of wearing sunglasses and sunscreen that you actually prepare your body for the expression of a disease, because you're creating disturbances from natural harmony in the body.
All right. Now, with sunglasses,
yes,
I'm taking them off now to try and get that sunlight in. But I can see, like with sunglasses, because you've got the dark. But I never saw it with regular glasses because they're clear. You can see through them.
But just because they're clear doesn't mean that they're not filtering light. And so if you look at the window to your right-hand side right now, that's still not allowing through the maximum potential of light from the outside. And so your glasses are another window. And you have, interference between the light that's available and the light that you're receiving. And that's only part of the equation. You're not wearing glasses over your whole body right now,
No.
which means we have a different part of the equation to address. Because if your eyes and skin don't match, then we again create more issues downstream. But that's something that I go into deeper on a case by case basis.
Well, I guess it's back to wearing sun hats in the summer.
And the angle at which the sun shines is important too. And so it totally depends on, you yourself as a human, and what substances you choose to put in your body, because those impact how you receive light. And then it also, even if those products are natural, you're still changing how your body perceives light. And so we have to, look for deeper truths behind the messages that we're receiving when it comes to these things, because sun is one of the most cheapest forms of healing that you can expose yourself to. But we've all become fearful to it because nobody knows how to properly expose themselves to it anymore. But that's what I teach within my client sessions, because it is it's required for healing. Truly is. When I started that in my healing journey, I had massive changes, massive. I healed my vision through utilizing light. And when I was in a disease state, I was getting new prescriptions every 6 months. I'm considered blind in one eye, actually, from a concussion, but my other eye was rapidly deteriorating, and it was, obviously connected to the disease and expression that my body was showing. But through healing, through cleaning up my life, my vision corrected itself, and light was part of it. Yeah. And it's amazing what the body can do, because if you actually look at the reality of things, your body is always healing. And so your eyes should heal just like a paper cut or a hangnail or a sliver. Your eyes should heal just the same, but they don't, because we get in the way of it.
That is really, now you have a lot of education behind you.
I do. Yeah.
And
I went.
And I mean, I'm sure you've taken a lot of courses, but I should imagine you've also done a lot of research.
Yes, I have done a lot of research. It was actually my favorite thing to do in school. I would wake up first thing in the morning and digest however much research I could possibly digest, because it was so fascinating. But the problem that I have with research now is that it's never the person sitting in front of me who's the subject in the research study. And the conditions that are set up for the research study never match the conditions of the person who I'm helping. And so it's honestly, it's a great opportunity to see what's possible, but it's never a determination of what's possible for the person in front of me. So I don't use research as a clutch in my practice. I go beyond the research and into people's lives. And I think that's where a lot of physicians, doctors, practitioners get hung up these days, is because they limit themselves to the research available. And that is never going to triumph what's available through nature and understanding how we're supposed to be living in harmony with it.
Yeah. Now, before the show, I had asked you if there was anything that you wanted to promote.
Yes.
And you mentioned two different things.
Yes. So that woman one that we were talking about before, this is going to be a 3-month experience. And my friend Victoria and myself are going to start off with a call, an ignition call, shall I say. And we want to hear about your life story. We want to hear about what's going on in your life. We want to get a good picture of where you're standing in your feminine, so we can create a roadmap for you going forward. And throughout those 3 months, you will have 3 embodiment healing sessions with Victoria, and you will have 3 health guidance sessions with myself to help bring you back into harmony with your feminine. And through that experience, we also will have a group container to converse in throughout those 3 months to help with ongoing challenges that might arise for you, so we can help work through and change them as you're going through the experience. And Victoria and I are also going to be opening up about our private lives and how we choose to embody the feminine even when we're being challenged in the masculine. And so this is something that is very new to us, but we felt very called to bring it forth at this time. And the other program that I have available is an energy upgrade group experience. And so what we're going to be doing is learning how to actually remove the baggage from your life that's draining your battery pack.
Yeah.
That's going to be week 1. And
The
then
big one.
week 2 is going to, how do you recharge your battery after these years of being in a deficit? How do we actually live in a way that recharges the battery? And then in the 3rd week, we're going to learn how to live your life with great efficiency, how to become an eco mode, shall we say. And the last week is going to be really the jumper cable. How are you going to boost yourself when you fall into your old patterns and habits and behaviors? Because let me tell you, they are going to come up, and I'm going to provide you with the tools to be able to sit yourself down and shift your energy to be in a more harmonious state and one that promotes vitality.
All right. Now, let's say you have health issues that need to be dealt with.
Yes.
Would you need to deal with those issues before you take that course, or would
No.
course would help it?
Oh, massively, that course will help it, because all illness stems from a energy deficiency. And so if we just understood that before we got ill, most of us wouldn't end up ill. But what happens is we ignore the signs and signals of energy deficiency in our bodies on a day-to-day. And then it manifests into illness over time. And so when you're learning how to manage your energy, you're learning how to manage your health.
Yeah.
And that's what's so powerful about it. But as all of my other offerings are really geared towards helping people with their health, quote unquote, I wanted to create something that was more approachable to maybe somebody who doesn't really have a health expression going on, but just wants to learn how to master their energy more. And so I made this a group experience so that hopefully I could attract both of those types of people into the program so that we can learn from each other. Because it's through learning through each other's experience where we go, okay, that worked. Okay, that worked. And I think we're coming back to community. The healing wound that we've been in for the last 4 years is closing up. The wound is closing up. Community's starting to come back together. And what a beautiful way to do it in a vulnerable group space where we're all in support of each other.
All right. Now, both of these courses, can they be done online?
Yes, they can be done completely online. And if you are local to Toronto or Cambridge, you will also have the option to work with Victoria in person, and or vice versa. If you're in Alberta, Calgary, or Cochrane, you will have the opportunity to do my sessions in person as well.
Okay, now is Victoria in Cambridge then?
She travels back and forth between
Okay.
Cambridge and Toronto.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that I find this really fascinating. And you've touched on a lot of things that I'm going to say sort of believed. And I do believe in it, but where I've sort of believed in it, but when you don't have someone to talk to that's really knowledgeable about it, it's like, okay, am I right with this, or am I just my normal really out there? But it makes sense, with the different things that I have learned over the years. To me, it makes an awful lot of sense. And I certainly understand about the body healing itself. I mean, I have done that with myself with certain things, all through self-work, visualization, things like that. And now, so these courses, when are they going to start?
So the Wild Woman Ignition is starting at any point that you wish to start.
Oh, okay.
Now we will take clients on for that as they come, but the energy upgrade program is going to be starting in May. But if you can't make it to the live calls, which are to be determined for dates and times right now, they will be recorded and available to you in a portal sense way so that you can still keep up with the program as we go along, and the recordings will be available for purchase afterwards.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind me asking this, what are the price points on this?
Yes, so the Wild Woman Ignition for 3 months, including 2-hour-long calls and then 3 healing sessions with both Victoria and I separately, and ongoing access to us, that is $2,222. Okay. And then the other, which is the Energy Upgrade Program, is currently on a pre-sale price of $444 for the month.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. So I always try and make things as affordable for people as I can, but I do put a lot of time, energy, and care into each person that comes into my work.
You do.
I have a lot of knowledge and background to offer people.
Yeah. With what you're offering, the quality is there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons I want to touch on too, with the education that you have and the time that you have invested in learning all of this and research.
Yeah. And you know what, I think even more importantly than my education, quote unquote, which I'll get into in a moment, it was my own experience of healing myself, which was the golden nugget. And the education only took you so far. And so I think that's also another misinterpretation that people believe today, is that credentials mean everything. But when you truly have to go into those credentials and look at the truth of what they mean. And so that's what I did. I completed my bachelor's of science in biology at Trent University. So I have a very good understanding of nature, the rhythms of nature, how humans are designed, the sciencey anatomy and physiology behind the equation. And then I went into the Doctor of Chiropractic program, and I learned really firsthand the connection between the mind and body and the physical expression of symptoms and what's going on in my patients' lives. But why I left that profession is because an adjustment is never going to change somebody's life.
Yeah.
But they need to go and change their life before ever leaning on anybody else for an adjustment. Because what I saw time and time again is patients would come in, you know, I would work on them, they would feel amazing, but then within 2 or 3 days, everything would come back because they didn't actually go change anything in their life. And
No.
instead, I was actually the one interrupting with the healing process because the body was trying to communicate a message to the person, and then I went and interfered with the signal. And so this is why manipulation-based medicines can be very dangerous. And when I was in chiropractic school is when my disease expression started to show itself. My spine was actually starting to fuse, and I was in chiropractic school, and I was like, why is none of this helping? Because nobody was getting to the root cause of my condition. And so that was left up to my own device to go and figure out through my life. And that's exactly what I did. And that's why I decided from that moment on, I was going to leave that profession behind, because I don't believe that there should be any authority in your life other than yourself. And so I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to educate you, and you have to empower yourself. And so I give the power back to the people.
All right, now here's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Age. Okay. And I'm talking about like seniors. You see, I mean, on Facebook, because that's where you see most of everything these days. But even in magazines and things like that, you see pictures of people that are up in their hundreds.
Yeah.
And they're still moving, they're still getting along. And it's not so much people that are, but it's like people that are outside all the time. So if you are, excuse me, I'm just trying to find the right words here. So if you are looking after everything holistically,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and sort of following, I'm going to use the word program for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
but following your program, following your teachings,
Yes.
your advice, will it help the body? Because as you get older, let's be honest, the body deteriorates. Now, is this part of a belief system that we make it happen? Okay, because it's all the power of the brain.
Yeah.
Or if following sort of your, I'm going to say, advice, can people work through that, kind of avoid it?
Absolutely. And that is another massive misconception that people have. You have 2 different types of ages. You have a biological age, which is, you know, the age that your physiology would express. And then you have your chronological age. And your biological age is up to the choices that you make on a day-to-day basis. And so this is what I mean by quantum healing. We go in and change the choices that you're making, and you, quote unquote, change the body through that. But if you hold the belief that your age is the reason why you're deteriorating, if you hold the belief that the body stops healing at a certain age, or that you're just decaying, well, yes, the mind is going to impact the cellular expression that shows to the surface. And you could relate this to if you've ever received a diagnosis of any kind. Immediately, you jump to the conclusion of, oh no, something's wrong with me, my body's broken, I need fixing, versus what if you actually just said, oh, that makes a lot of sense for how I've been choosing to live.
Mhm.
And I understand that, I accept that, and here's what I'm going to do about it. And so you can understand that those are two very different things. And the hardest part about working with elderly people is that their belief systems, their neuron network is so stuck into those patterns and ways because the highway has been worked in for so many years.
Yeah.
And so it would take a tremendous amount of power to start changing those belief systems. And it can be a little bit of a challenge to,
But it can be done.
yeah, but it can be done. And you just have to be a willing participant with an open mind.
Well, I had a psychic tell me one time that I'm supposed to live till I was 102 or 103.
Wow.
So I think I better come and talk to you.
I would love to help you with that achievement.
Yes, you can help me make that happen. That'll keep my grandchildren happy.
Yeah, and that is just the cool thing about the body is it just shows you the truth of the life that you have, and there's no actual puzzles to it. It's very honest. It never gives up on you. It never cheats on you. It's always there for you. And as long as you wake up tomorrow, you have a chance to change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think it's ever too late.
No, never.
So you're never too old to learn new things.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you have that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where it is. We have to just be honest. And I start, if you don't necessarily know what best way to work with me is, I always offer a small consultation just to get to know you, get to know kind of what your needs and requirements would be, and more importantly, just get a gauge of where those beliefs are at. Because when I can get a gauge of where your belief meter is, then I can get a better grasp on, okay, what kind of work do we have to do here? And what homework can I send you home with to start at least getting curious about another way?
Yeah. No, like I say, it's really interesting. Now, once again, very quick, because we are just about at the end, basically at the end of the show. If you can give your contact information one more time.
Yes. Please reach out to me at hertzhealth@outlook.com. So that's HERTZHEALTH@outlook.com. You can also phone me at 519-496-9309, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook under Hertz Health.
All right. That's wonderful. Well, it has been wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you.
Very, very informative. And I think it may have helped. You can definitely help a lot of people. And I do believe that your way of thinking with medicine really is the way of the future. But we are at the end of the show. And again, I would like to thank you very much for being a guest. And for those of you out there, I hope that you have enjoyed Melissa as much as I have. And do remember to go after in your heart. See you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Here we are in Canada, where Canada's about to celebrate our talent, our people. This moment is changing your life forever. I promise you. $1 million. This is the gateway to your dreams coming true. Every